Okay, well, I've got 6:31 now, so I think we'll go ahead and get this party started. Welcome to our Zoom meeting for incoming band students at North Scott Junior High. We're really excited to see so many people joining us for this meeting tonight. Really excited about the number of our students that signed up for band this year. We're really looking forward to an awesome year next year with your students when they come to the junior high. Oops, there we go. Um, so my name is Mr. Probst. I'm the seventh grade band director. On this call also is Mrs. Noblo. She's the eighth grade band director. I'll let her say hi so her video pops up on your screen.
Hello, everyone.
And then we also have Miss Levitt, who teaches lessons with us. She teaches our band lessons, some of the band lessons, but she couldn't be here tonight. But she is an adult that your student would see in band next year. If at any time you have questions during this presentation, we are monitoring the chat, so you can type in the chat. We also have a link to our band website in the chat as well. So you can visit that website if you have any questions about anything that we've said here. A lot of that information is going to be on our band website. And then, of course, you could always reach out and email us. You see our email addresses are down there at the bottom of the page. You can reach out to us anytime with any questions that you have. So the first thing that we need to talk about is what instruments are in band. So it seems like, I mean, this is a pretty baseline. Like we better know what it is that we're trying to do here, right? The three families of band instruments are woodwind instruments, brass instruments, and percussion instruments. The woodwinds are the flute, oboe, bassoon, clarinet, alto sax, and tenor sax. Brass instruments are the horn, trumpet, trombone, euphonium, tuba. And then the percussion instruments are things like marimba, xylophone, bells, snare drum, bass drum, timpani, and just a ton more. Percussionists will actually learn to play all of these instruments. So if you become a percussionist, you become a full percussionist. You learn to play everything. Again, if you're looking at some of these instruments and you're like, what the heck is a bassoon, for instance, that's one of the more rare instruments. You can learn more about the instruments in the band on that band website again, and that's linked in the chat.
So, to talk you through a little bit about what our process was for having our students explore these instruments, we visited all of the elementary schools back in February, and we told every student to have one woodwind and one brass instrument in mind that they would like to try. So, we tried them out on those instruments. They learned how to make a sound either with their mouth buzzing their lips on the brass instruments or how to form their mouth to make a sound on the woodwinds. We generally went with their first choice. And if they had a hard time making a sound on that instrument, or if they decided they really didn't like the sound of that instrument, they tried other instruments. So the main goal of that was to find something that fit your student the best, something that we as teachers think they would be successful on, but even more importantly than that, something that the student enjoyed. So that's what we wrote down on that paper that went home. Hopefully, it showed up at home. And that's kind of how we came up with that instrument suggestion. And then, as far as choosing instruments and what instruments we need in band, we often talk about how the band instruments are like the ingredients of a cake. You want those ingredients to be well balanced. If you have too much salt, not enough sugar, the cake will taste bad. But the important thing is that we're all in band together. So even if you play trumpet and your best friend plays flute, you're still in that same band. It doesn't really matter what instrument you're playing because we're all in it together. Just a breakdown of the instruments that we would like to have in band. You see our numbers there: 12 flutes, 3 oboes, 24 clarinets, 3 bassoon, 8 altos, 2 tenor, 8 horn, 12 trumpet, 12 trombone, 4 euphonium, 4 tuba, and 6 percussion. That would be our ideal instrumentation. But if we don't get there, close enough is good enough.
Right, and I will say just real quick, like jump in here. If if you're ninth alto saxophone. Our ideal is eight. I'm not going to turn anybody away from alto saxophone or oboe or bassoon, certainly not oboe or bassoon. Some of those, instruments, we're not going to turn anybody away from it. This is just our ideal goal. So just keep that in mind. The most important thing is that students play the instrument that they want to play and enjoy playing.
And if you're here at this meeting because you got the email, but your student wasn't already registered for band, it is not too late to add band to your schedule. You just contact Miss Woods in the junior high main office. Her email is on that slide there, or you can call and get band added to your schedule. So it's not too late for that. We just needed those preliminary numbers from their 7th grade registration.
So we actually get started with band before school starts with our summer band classes, and that gives us a chance to get a little bit more focused with each student before the craziness of the first day of school, which is always a wild first day back. So we will actually start on August 11th this year with what we call our super lesson at North Scott Junior High. And this is where every student who plays those particular instruments will come to the school for one big lesson together. So on August 11th from 9 to 10, we would have all of the oboes and bassoons. We would all have all the saxophones in their own lesson, all the French horns in their own lesson. From 10 to 11, we would have all the flutes in a lesson together, all the trumpets in a lesson together, euphoniums, tubas. And then from 11 to 12, all the clarinets, all the trombones, all the percussion in their own groups together. And look in the upper right corner there. This information will be in a future email. You don't need to be furiously scribbling notes down right now. I will send all this stuff out in the next couple days. And then on August 12th and 14th, if you would prefer to have lessons at North Scott Junior High, we will have small group lessons on August 12th and 14th at the junior high, which would be like groups of 2 to 4, depending on the instrumentation, so we can give those students a little bit more individualized attention. And then August 13th and 15th, if you would prefer to have your lessons at Glen or Grissom, then we can have those, again, small groups, 2 to 4, depending on the instrumentation, at Glen or Grissom. And then the afternoon of August 15th, that's a Friday, we have our very first full band rehearsal with all of the students together. So all the things that we had been working on Monday through Thursday in the week, or Monday through Friday, really in the week. We would come back to the junior high together from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in our awesome brand new band room, which I think you'll probably see pictures of later in the slideshow. We would all come together in our awesome brand new band room from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock for our very first full band rehearsal.
So there's a picture of our new band room there and a rehearsal during the school year. So once school has started, your 7th grader will either be it will be put in one of 2 periods of band. So the 7th grade band is so large that we can't always fit into one room every day for rehearsals. So we don't know exactly what periods those are right now, but they will be in 1 or 2 periods. They have the same instruments in each of those periods of band. So they will have it as one of their classes during the school day. And as far as like preparing for concerts, they'll rehearse together once or twice before a concert as the full big band to perform those concerts. And then also during the school year, we have what are called pull-out band lessons, either small groups or individual based on what instrument students play, for one period every 6 school days. Mrs. Levitt has them a little bit more often. The period that the student has the lesson will rotate throughout the quarter, so they're never missing the same class more than once per quarter. So we keep that rotating. We explain it all to the students. They get the hang of that pretty quickly. And that's when they get their more personalized instruction time, and the full band class is a little bit more group instruction. And then throughout the school year, there are several performances. In October, we have a fall concert. We have a concert in the winter in December. The North Scott Band Showcase concert features the 7th through 12th grade bands. So that's in the high school pit. We have our district concert band festival, which is actually tomorrow for all of us right now. And then students will all perform a solo, and we have a spring concert in May.
And we haven't made the schedule for next year, so we don't have these exact dates yet. But I promise as soon as we know them, I will email them out to everybody so you can get those on your calendar ASAP.
So we really want your students to be successful in band. And in order to do that, it does take some time, some practice, and some patience. Mr. Probst, if you want to go to that next slide there. We always say that you need to be prepared for unusual sounds at first. One of my old colleagues used to call it pre-music. So you will hear those squeaks and squawks and odd sounds coming from their bedroom or the basement or wherever you have their practice area set up. It's not going to be beautiful at first. It does take a little bit of time. You don't have to be a musician or have musical training to be an encourager for your student. You can encourage your student by setting up a dedicated practice spot for them. Ask your student to play what they've been working on for you, even if you don't recognize it. Yay, that was great. Good job. Keep working. And embrace the struggle. Something that the Mr. Probst and I really love about band is that it teaches our students resilience, perseverance, grit, all of those great educational buzzwords that we use these days. We live kind of in a world of instant gratification. This is one area that there is no cheat code to get ahead. The students do have to put in the work. It's usually very exciting to play a band instrument for the first month or so. And then when they reach that first barrier to their progress, sometimes they get frustrated, and we need to embrace that struggle and keep working forward.
So practice is very important for the kids. We do want our students to be practicing in the evenings outside of school regularly. You can see this chart here kind of gives you an idea of how much time a student will put into practicing, how that can really add up over time. You'll see the column on the left, 20 minutes a night, 5 minutes a week. Sorry, 20 minutes a night, 5 nights a week adds up to 100 minutes of practice in a week, 400 minutes of practice over 1 month versus, 4 to 5 minutes or not at all. Gives you 20 minutes of practice in a week, only 80 minutes of practice, and you can imagine, which student is going to be more successful. All right, so we've talked about what instruments are in band. Now we need to talk about how to get an instrument. We want students to rent or purchase their instruments, preferably through a reputable music store dealer. Keep in mind that you will get what you pay for. So be aware and beware of online superstores or misspelled name brands, colors that are not brass for brass instruments, silver for flutes, black for clarinets, or deals that just seem too good to be true. If you're looking at this and you're like, wait a minute, this is a really good deal, maybe just, pause and think for a second about that. It's okay to use an old family instrument. One thing I always tell students and families is that if you invest in a good quality instrument and then take care of that instrument, musical instruments haven't really changed a lot in the last 150 years. And so, if you get like, for instance, the trombone that I play on right now at school was made in 1980. So it's almost as old as I am. And it works just fine. Actually, it works better than fine. It's a great instrument. But high quality instruments will last a long time. So it's okay to use an old family instrument, but we would just encourage you to have it checked out at a music store to make sure that the pads are still in good shape if it's a woodwind instrument, that the valves are working okay if it's a brass instrument. And then just, if it's been in the closet for a while, it probably needs a good cleaning. And just be, if you it can sometimes get expensive to do an overhaul on an instrument if it's been sitting around for a while. Just keep that in mind. Some larger instruments like tubas and bassoons, we do rent through the school just because they tend to be very expensive. So if you are interested in playing, or your students interested in playing tuba or bassoon, uh, let us know and we will arrange an instrument through the school for that. And then the last point here, you will need your instrument by August because we have that summer band uh, days starting on August 11th. Uh, Even though you don't need your instrument until August, it's helpful to reserve an instrument now because the music stores, West Music, will start to get inundated here pretty soon. We're a little bit ahead of the pack, but come April and May, uh, a lot of schools will start getting students through this, doing the same process that we're doing right here. And if you put off getting an instrument, it can cause delays, and we have always had some students who put it off till the last minute, and then they don't have an instrument for that very first day of summer band or something like that. And we do have a West Music representative here with us today. He'll talk a little bit more about that whole process of getting an instrument. With that in mind, and especially when you're thinking about like an old instrument, maybe a family instrument, right? Um, Musical instruments are available in many places, but it is highly, highly recommended that you seek the help of a music dealer when you're getting an instrument for your child. When you're renting or purchasing a band instrument, the brands that are on this slide, we know to be good instruments that will stand the test of time. Um, Other instruments might be acceptable. If you're looking at an instrument that is not on this list, just shoot me an email. I'm always available through my emails. And we can help you just decide if it's a good instrument or not. Again, this is all going to be in a future email. You don't need to be furiously writing down name brands right now and stuff like that. In addition to an instrument, students will need a handful of things for class. They need a lesson book, but the lesson book is provided by the school district. So they will get that. They will use it daily, but we provide that for them. They will also need a 1-inch 3-ring binder, black, please, so that we all look the same on stage with clear pocket covers. Each of these things are linkable here. I'm going to send this presentation home. So when you do get this presentation in an email in a day or two here, you can literally just click this link right here and it'll take you to the exact perfect 1-inch 3-ring binder. But we do hand out a lot of individual sheets of music. And so it's helpful for them to have a place that they can keep it all organized, neat, and tidy. So we want them to have a 1-inch 3-ring binder with 50 plastic page protectors. And yes, we will use all 50 of those plastic page protectors. They end up getting a lot of music over the course of the year. They will need a music stand so that they can practice at home. Sitting with good posture when you play your instrument is super important. And just, putting the music on the bed and trying to read it, on the bed or off the floor or something like that, it's not really great for their posture. So a music stand for practicing at home. A metronome or tuner with a clip-on microphone is recommended. It's not required, but we would love it if students had that metronome and a tuner. Music stand, metronome tuner, if you do end up renting through West Music, are available as part of the rental package. Again, I'll let Spencer talk a little more about that when he comes on to chat about renting an instrument. But just keep that in mind that those two things you can get through West Music. Woodwind students, except for flutes, will need a box of reeds for their instrument. We would like students to have the Van Doren 2.5. It's in a blue box. Make sure that you're getting the correct reed for your instrument. because they all the boxes kind of look the same, except that they have a picture of a clarinet on it or a tenor sax on it. But just make sure you're getting the right box of reeds for your student. Reed cases, enough to hold 4 reeds. We have the students rotate. So on Monday, they use their day 1 read. On Tuesday, use their day 2 read. Wednesday, they use their day 3 read. And that really helps the reads last longer so we don't have one that's getting overused. A mouthpiece patch is just a little piece of rubber that goes on top of their mouthpiece to it's a little more comfortable for their teeth. If your student is going to play bassoon or oboe, bassoon and oboe reeds are a little bit tricky, but we will email you more information about what to look for oboe reeds if your student is going to play bassoon or oboe. If your student is a brass player, they, in addition to obviously their instrument and stuff, they are going to need a bottle of valve oil or slide oil. So if they play trumpet or euphonium, we'd like them to get this Yamaha synthetic valve oil. If they play trombone, slide-o mix, slide oil. French horn, the Yamaha synthetic rotor oil. There is a difference between just the rotor oil and the synthetic or the valve oil. So make sure we're getting those specifically. And again, when I send out this presentation, all of these links are clickable and take you right to a website. If you rent through West Music, these bottles of valve oil can be part of your rental process. And speaking of the rental process, we have Spencer here from West Music to talk to you a little bit about how to rent an instrument from West Music. And Spencer, I'm going to try to give you screen sharing access. Okay.
Right. Um, Hello, everyone. I think I'm sharing now. Um, so I'm going to talk to you today a little bit on how you can get a quality and reliable instrument from West Music as your student is beginning their journey through the band program at North Scott. Despite whatever instrument your student ends up playing, the initial cost for any of our instruments is $44.95. That covers the music stand, some care supplies, as well as the first couple of reeds. There'll be an option to purchase that full box as well. But we put all that little stuff together so that way you don't have to worry about it. As well as the first month that you have the instrument, we cover that so that way you don't have any additional expenses outside of that initial $44.95. Part of what makes West Music a convenient and easy way to get your instrument for your student is we have a variety of price points, as well as we can deliver instruments to the school whenever they need work or whenever you have a change to your order. Basically, just let the teacher know, and then, or you let us know, and then we take care of that. All of our rental instruments, if you go that direction with it, are a 4-year rent to own. At any point, you can pay it off early to save some money. But to make it simple, that's how we've done it. So yeah, going through, we try to make it easy and online in order to get your rental taken care of. So if you go to westmusic.com, which is what you're looking at here, you'll see a bunch of stuff where you can shop or store. But what you're going to be looking for is this rent online now option. And it'll bring you straight to this screen here. It'll walk you through with these videos, the band rental program, a lot of the similar stuff that I'm going to be telling you here today. For all of it. But all you need to do is it'll ask you for your school. Oh, not that. And if you just type in North Scott, it'll come up right with this. And that'll bring you to this landing page that has all the different instruments. And you can see all the different instruments that your student can rent from us. So let's say if we're playing flute, you select flute and it'll walk you through all of this. So here it'll give you a kind of a bit of a lowdown on what comes with it. We cover any maintenance. That's what the service protection plan includes here as you're going through all of that. Basically, we cover anything that happens to the instrument while you're renting. Things happen. Stuff gets knocked off chairs, bumped into, dropped, whatever. We've seen it all. We cover it all. Just let your teacher know or bring it into their store, and we'll be happy to fix it and give you a different instrument to use in the meantime, if something were to happen while you were renting. After that, it'll walk you straight through. First, it'll come with a music stand. As it goes through this, ISIL gives you a choice on a music stand color. I choose black, and I recommend that for the most part, mostly so that way down the road in a few years, they have a black music stand they can use for different events in high school and beyond. After that, it'll have director required accessories. So on those different instruments that we're talking boxes of reeds, certain valve oil, etc. We put all of that on these required accessories area. We have the tuner and the microphone on here. It's recommended, not required. You can easily uncheck those boxes if you don't want to have those items as well to make it pretty easy. Down below here, we have our different tiers of instruments that you can see. Yamaha is a name brand. It's a quality instrument. It just runs a little more expensive. Premium is going to be your new instruments, and certified pre-owned is going to be things that have come back to us. They play perfectly fine. We run them through our shop. They just are going to have some cosmetic issues to them because they've been played by students for a little bit. And you can see the different price points associated with that. We also have purchasing options that you can do from here as well. If you want to just skip the rent to own and just go to a purchase direct, it does save you money in the long run. We take 30% off the MSRP price for that, so you can save a little money. We have a 2-payment option as well over here in that last column, which is the exact same thing as purchasing. It just splits it out over 2 months if that's the way you would like to do that for budgeting reasons. So yeah, let's say I'm going to rent a premium flute here, and then it'll take you to the next screen where you'll fill out all of your personal information for your student and for yourself. It'll give you a fulfillment option. Leave that as a delivered to the school. That's going to be me dropping it off in the band room, so that way it's ready there in August for your student's first lesson. Payment information as it goes through, and then we have a recap of everything as it goes through this. So as you can see, it gives you a lowdown of everything that's going on with it, makes it pretty easy, and then we'll take care of it. So yeah, that's how you get an instrument from West Music. You can do it online, and I'll deliver it to the school. You can also stop by the store, and we have associates that are going to be more than happy to help with whatever you need through that. But yeah, we try to make it easy. We try to make it simple so that way everyone can get the exact products they need, so that way they're ready to go and start their journey through band. If you have any questions for it, by all means, you can type it in the chat here, and I'm more than happy to answer some of them that way as well.
Okay. So now we're back here. Thanks, Spencer, for talking us through all of that. So what's going to happen next is I'm going to send an email in the next few days with all the details. I told you you don't have to be taking furious notes because all this stuff is coming up in an email, plus a link to a Google form to officially indicate your student's choice of instrument and location preference for summer lessons. So keep an eye out for that in your email inbox here pretty soon. We're going to go ahead and open it up now to questions. So if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Oops. And then, if you think of something later on, don't be afraid to email us. You see our email addresses are there at the bottom of the screen, and you can always reach out to us through email. So let's see if we have some folks with some questions. And Miss Noble, my chat window disappeared, so you might need to keep an eye on the chat for me.
Yep. I have it open. No questions yet. Don't be shy, folks. I'm sure if you have a question, someone has the same one. Spencer, are you able to read that one? Okay.
Yeah. So the different models that we have, just because we get so many rentals, it varies a little bit as far as what other brands. They're all reputable high-end brands for it. For the Yamaha specifically, it's the Yamaha Advantage series. So it'd be the YCL-200 II, I believe is the what all of our Yamaha rentals are for it. It's the Advantage series.
We must have done an excellent job explaining everything. We'll wait for a couple more minutes if anybody has questions to type in the chat there. In the meantime, I'm going to put our website back in here as well. So if you do have questions, you can click this link to our website and that'll give you more information about that didn't go as a link, did it? There it is. Thank you, Miss Noble. You can click that link there, and that'll take you to the website, and you can see more about all of the individual instruments as well as just more about band in general.
All right, well, we'll stay on for a few more minutes, but don't feel like you have to stick around. If you don't have any questions, again, please feel free to email us. And we're pretty good about responding to emails, so we'll hang out for a few more minutes, but thank you all for coming.
For percussion, here there's a bell kit. That's the option here. If you go, it'll show you that on that same website. If you just scroll down, it'll give you the bell kit option, as well as that stick pack that was recommended or required for that as well. So that'll have everything you need. It's that bell kit is what you're looking for.
All right, looks like our audience is dwindling down here.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Again, if you have any questions that you think of later, go ahead and shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your evening and we will see you soon.